I think it was Matt Damon, had a really good analogy why they've stopped making those movies. In the past, they could experiment with trying to make a cult classic or trying to make a Home Alone or type of movie that was like 14 million and yields 200 million. They had the DVD market. If it didn't do well in the box office, they could always then turn around and sell a physical product where they know they could make X amount of dollars because they would sell it to Walmart. They would sell it to like the CD stores, the DVD stores.
Yeah.
And there was a market afterwards. Now it's like.
And I guess a lot of like cult classics oftentimes became that. Like they maybe weren't that when they hit the box office. Like some of them grew in popularity.
So are you asking, are there future ones out there, or I misunderstood you a little bit?
I just feel like.
Do you think there's movies now that's already been made that could be classics, or are they on the shelf, or what are you asking?
I feel like when you look at Home Alone and we talk about the story of it, being made for whatever, $13 or $14 million. And that's kind of the story with a lot of just classics, just great American classic films, is they're like low budget, but they're either really funny or really well told, great stories, incredible cast. Like they were able to basically like overcome a very low budget because the quality of the film, in one respect or the other. I just feel like with today's production costs, like the expectation is that if you're going to go to the box office, that you've already spent like a couple $100 million on making the movie. And not only does that put a ton of pressure on then like when it does hit the box office, when it goes to theaters, like you need to make a lot of movie or a lot of money. But I just feel like it's a huge barrier to entry for, someone to come along with like a really great story, but not this huge budget. And so I don't know if like, does Matt Damon talk about this?
Yes.
Can we say officially that Matt Damon is going to be on our podcast then?
I mean, right now, but I wish he'd come on our podcast.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like from here on out, I'm going to tell people that Matt Damon was on our podcast.
I mean, it's bullshit, but
I mean, here he is.
Here he is.
Hi, Matt. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
He's on sitting on the couch on a Friday night, going through the streaming services, cycling through the movies and thinking to themselves, they're not making movies for me anymore. As somebody who's been intimately involved in movie making for 30 years, what are the macro Hollywood conditions behind that sentiment?
The DVD was a huge part of our business, of our revenue stream. And technology has just made that obsolete. And so the movies that we used to make, you could afford to not make all of your money when it played in the theater because you knew you had the DVD coming behind the release. And 6 months later, you'd get a whole nother chunk. It would be like reopening the movie almost. And when that went away, that changed the type of movies that we could make. I did this movie Behind the Candelabra, and I talked to a studio executive who explained it was a $25 million movie. I would have to put that much into print and advertising, right, to market it. And now I'm in $50 million. I have to split everything I get with the exhibitor, right, the people who own the movie theaters. So I would have to make $100 million before I got into profit. And the idea of making $100 million on a story about like this love affair between these two people, yeah, I love everyone in the movie, but that's suddenly a massive gamble in a way that it wasn't in the 1990s when they were making all those kind of movies, the kind of movies that I loved and the kind of movies that were my bread and butter.
I would venture to say there's so much more competition in the marketplace for people's eyeballs. Like people a lot of times aren't even watching the shows they put on now, whether it's a movie on Netflix or a show or whatever. You turn it on in the background, but then you're scrolling on your phone. And you sit there and you're looking at some other short form content. And
on that note,
stuff
real quick,
that doesn't even go to the movie theater.
No, so what's the name of that girl who has the comments channel? She's with Daily Wire.
Brett Cooper.
So on Brett Cooper's channel, she says, the comment section. Brett Cooper was like, Brett Cooper watching Lord of the Rings for the first time. And I watched a few seconds of it, but basically it's her watching the movie and she's just scrolling on her phone, not watching Lord of the Rings. And you can see the guy next to him like,
was it a joke or like?
No, she was just like, her attention span was so like bad. So, and you look at the comments.
In all fairness, her whole show is reading social comments.
Of course. I get it. It's a long movie.
Probably got like a super thumb.
The comment section of that video is like, literally didn't watch this because she was on her phone the entire time. But that's what it's like watching movies with my wife. She can't watch a movie. Also, like I've noticed people can't read books anymore. They'll read a section and then they'll be on their phone. They'll read a section, be on a phone. Like
it's like a problem.
It's a bad problem.
And sometimes I find myself kind of getting in that headspace too, where I'm like, I cannot focus on anything. Like this is bad.
So Brett Cooper, watch the movie. It's a good movie.
It was Lord of the Rings. I mean, it is long.
It is long. Yeah, but still.
You sure it wasn't a joke?
No,
Mm.
it was not.
All right.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of her channel. I think it's funny. The stuff she does, the things she says,
Mhm.
good on her. But it's like, don't disrespect Lord of the Rings because the fans will come after you. I'm not the biggest fan of Lord of the Rings. I like the movie. It's fun. But like my wife is like a diehard fan of Lord of the Rings.
Can we talk about like how smart Matt Damon is?
Is he smart?
He's very smart.
Really?
Yeah, like in several instances,
Like smart enough to come on our podcast?
that would be very wise of him.
Yeah, right.
Although we don't have anything. It looks like he was eating some delicious wings or something.
He was on Hot Ones.
We have urine in bottles, so I don't know if you're into that, Matt. But
so
no,
he's a brilliant guy.
I've seen several interviews. I mean, I don't know. Brilliant that's a big word.
Fine.
I can't even spell it. But yeah, I've just heard him interviewed several times and ask sort of like spur of the moment questions, and he's just like boom, like he just is ready to jump in and provide a very well thought out, thorough, comprehensive response. And I'm just like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, was that arranged?
Because he's not on TikTok scrolling.
Yeah, so he can focus.
Yeah.
No, I've just been impressed. Like there's some depth there, and he just seems like a really intelligent guy. He's also been I forget the movie that he's in. It was many years ago, but is it Good Will? I think it's Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting, yeah.
And he like
where he's the smart guy and
he's a smart guy. And I think they're in the bar, and like he just delivers like it's a monologue. It's just like it's just him, and it's like line after line after line after line, and it feels like it's probably all one continuous take. But it was like a heavy duty set of script, and he just like powers through, and it's impressive. But
he's a good actor.
Anyway, apparently I'm a Matt Damon fan.
Mm-hmm. Well, he wasn't in Home Alone, so I don't care. Hey, thanks for watching this clip. If you want to see the full podcast, be sure to click on the link in the description. And if you feel like it, hit subscribe.